And good morning. Welcome to Touch Base Daily. And it's a new day. How are you all doing? I am dealing with a cold. I realize I have a cold. After the allergies, we're straight into a cold. So I must have caught a cold from my event that I had last week when I was around hundreds of people. And so there you have it, a cold. So what's going on? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I see Hannah is in the building. Well, first of all, today is Water Cooler Wednesday. So we're just going to be chatting and talking about whatever we want to talk about as a community. So that's our kind of day. I think most of you like this kind of day. So anyway, Hannah, good morning, Ron, and Touch Base Daily. She says, number 2, the silver goes to a and she says, Grand Rising, Ron, everyone, Touch Base Daily. And who's in the third? It's Rashad. She says, good morning. Happy Wednesday, Ron and Touch Base Daily family. It's happy hump day. It's hump day, y'all. It's hump day. Anyway, it's the middle of the week. And I see here also, what's AS saying? AS says, World Kindness Day. Krispy Kreme celebrates World Kindness Day, giving first 500 guests at each stop a free original glazed dozen. No purchase necessary. Really? I wish I could go in. I'm sure that would be delicious. I wish I could do it. I'm trying to stay away from sweets. And I see here, Derek is in the building. Derek says, good morning. Good morning. And Miss G is in the building. She says, well, good morning, y'all are on and popping. People are in the building. And who else is here? And good morning to all the beautiful people, says Mr. Anthony Rowland. Mr. Anthony Rowland says, good morning to all the beautiful people. Wait, there's someone in the building. Is someone in the building from Paris? What's up, Chris? My co-host, my palsy wowsy. I've been watching your photos. You guys are just having a great time, a grand old time in wonderful Paris. Nice. And who else? Yes, he says it. we are having an amazing time here. I bet you are, sir. And Elise is in the building. Good morning. I'm gonna have Elise and Gwendolyn on in a moment. Oh my goodness. Yes, I've been debating, should I talk about a subject? But we might have to because it's a water cooler day. And I see all the good mornings. Bonjour, Monsieur Edwards. I see a little French going on in here. And it's after 4 p.m. here. Oh, right. And look who else is in the building. Miss Amparo. Amparo is in the building. Good morning, Amparo. How are you? So good to see everybody. So it is our Water Cooler Wednesday. Did not have a guest for today. Maybe we'll have one for next week. I think we might. And we're getting closer to the end of the season. We're getting close to the end. It's almost holiday season starting. Thanksgiving starts off. Yeah. Yes, indeed. And so forgive if you guys got the big screen TVs, you're probably like, Ron's eyes are watering. What's going on? He's crying. Like I said, it's been established. I have a cold. And so anyway, I'm sure I'll get over it quickly. I don't usually keep colds that long around. So that is it. Okay, so let me send my little invitations out to my other co-hosts here. So here we go. And I'm gonna send those out to Miss, because it's much easier to send it through here, Miss, to Gwendolyn and Elise And let's see here. There we go. I just sent that out. I know y'all camera ready. Y'all always stay ready. You are always ready, both of you. And I know, Chris, if you want to come on from Paris, you're more than welcome to. I always, it's so funny when I go through this, I'm always sending out, I send everything out, and I always have Chris as the first person on the list that I send invitations out automatically. So anyway, it's out there, Chris. If you happen to want to just give us a taste of Paris, wherever you are in Paris. And also, I'm going to definitely make sure I copy this and put it on the link tree, so that way you guys can go to the link tree. And this was all supposed to be done, but I've been crunching time and numbers with my clients and their projects, getting a lot of projects, which is great. I am so thankful for it's gotten kind of busy around here, which is great. I love busy. Busy is a good thing. I love busy. Yes, I love what I do. I love it as a photographer, getting out there and photographing people's work and sharing what they're doing. And I just love it. So it's been busy, and it's still busy, which is great. I hope it stays busy forever. But we know everything happens in cycles in photography. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put that there. And okay, so rules of engagement. How about that? Rules of engagement. I just put in, so that you see this little QR code. The QR code, if you scan the QR code, you are able to come onto the platform. Now, I always vet people who come onto the platform. Just not anyone could just QR code and just pop on the screen. No, there is some vetting, because one, I have to protect the community. I am the gateway to the community. Number two, if you happen to come on board, just have a conversation. Don't use all the time to share many thoughts. Try to go with thinking in, like newscasters do, think in 1 and 2 minute increments. If you can get your words in a minute or 2 minutes, that's a good thing, because then it allows the panel discussion to develop around one thought. Okay? So just trying to, I have to now, because I want to see more, I do want to see people come on, but I want everyone to also come on in the right way. Okay? So there you have it. And I will put my little banner up that lets you guys know that there's a nice little arrow that says join the discussion. There you go. Click on the QR code. But before we do that, I just want to check up on my regular guests. Miss Elise is in the building. Gwendolyn is in the building. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Now, y'all are probably saying, why is Ron giggling and laughing so much? Well, I debated last night, would I share something with you all? There's a lot of news going on in the world. So, like I said, I'm trying to check out a little bit out of the news, just kind of like just sharing thoughts and what's going on in the world. But there was one thing that was it just reminded me of where we are society-wise. So anyway, let me just say good morning. Good morning, Gwendolyn.
You know what? Here's the deal. And I have this thing. I do appreciate that today is World Kindness Day, right?
It
because
is.
There is something different. I shouldn't say something different. It is different to be kind than to be nice. In my world, being nice comes across as performative. So when I say I'm not a nice person, I mean that, because this is not a performance, right? Yes, I'm a jagged little pill. I have been since I was a baby. And it's okay. However, I am still very nurturing. I am kind. I am committed. I am supportive. I create a community for people to be who they are, to be authentic, and to not have to come in and wear a mask. So even though sometimes my words make people clutch their pearls, right? It is all still done with love. Like, I don't believe in what do they call it? Like hard truth or like tough love. No, we can still be very gracious and kind and loving and compassionate with our communication. That is possible. I am also just very, I'm direct. I don't have time to fool around with stuff. I'm gonna let you know exactly where you stand.
Yes, you will. I can vouch for it. As this woman's work husband for now over 15, 16 years. Has it been? Yeah. So I can vouch for those words. Yes. What's going on, Elise? What's going on?
As the world turns. just watching and listening to people and shaking my head at what people didn't realize and that kind of stuff. And as Gwendolyn said, there is a difference between kindness and being nice.
And I have a special guest in the back room that's going to pop on. I am so excited. Back from being in London, my son Adrian. What's going on, Adrian?
What's up, family?
What's going on?
What's up, family?
What's going on? He is in the building. So good to have him in the building. And how are you, sir? How was your trip?
The trip was good. It was first off, London. Anytime you go over the pond, it's always nice to be able to travel internationally. It's even better to do it on somebody else's dime.
Yes.
I was like, I do believe I will get in business class and just be,
I was like, he's
nice.
in London.
Was nice. The weather was pretty decent. Like for London, it was, 50 degrees, 60 degrees, and cloudy as it would be, but it was good. And I was there. My purpose in that trip was to, so we have global ERGs, employee resource groups, whether it's for like the LGBTQIA plus community, the culture, race, and ethnicity, disabilities, women at work, and others. And so we have new global leads, and I was brought in to do a leadership training for that group because for a lot of them, it's their first time in a leadership type of role. And so they brought me over to do that, and I had a good time doing it. So, But I just now recovered from coming back because I got back Thursday night, and so now I'm back in the East Coast time zone. My head is back where it needs to be.
Welcome back, sir. Welcome back. It's so good to have. That means I'm due to come over and get that risotto.
Podcast. Ron has been acting like there's not an open time for him to just pop over, get across the bridge, and just come over and sit down. If he showed up right now, I would cook for him. So don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype.
He's just not showing up.
No, it didn't say it isn't so.
When you're here, please feel free to. I would like to invite you, my aunties, to come over and have dinner. My wife and I would be happy to host you, and I promise you will leave fed.
Yes. They both can cook. And Nancy is amazing. So she went to. I mean, she had a cooking business. So she's.
Okay.
Yeah, they're for real. When you go to their house, you're going to eat. So
okay. I'm going to have to take him up on that one of these days when I'm in New York.
I know. I'm good.
So Elise, when you're in town, you and I will go visit Adrian.
Great.
Gwendolyn, of course, you too. I mean, obviously, of course, you miss Auntie G and Uncle Mr. Jack. Uncle Jack. So anyway, there's something I'm trying to figure out how to approach this. But yesterday we had a really great conversation. A really good conversation about Elise shared about her time in Ghana. Then it flowed into a good conversation about where we are as a country, how where we are as a country can only be helped or be made better by white folks talking to other white folks to get us out of where we are today. And we talked about it in many different aspects. I talked about the abolitionists and how there are not all white people are bad. That was not what we were talking about. We were talking about we have the 40% or 37%, however you want to get the numbers right, that voted for Kamala Harris, which were for democracy and for all the policies that we like as a country. And then we have the 57% of white people and also the 53% of white people, women, and 57 men that were voting for Trump, who is against democracy. So we were saying that it is not our problem as people of color or as Black people to solve this problem, in general speaking. Right. However, it is up to white people that are on that right now. The 37% women, to say men that voted for Kamala, and the 42% of the women, the women that voted for Kamala, to now talk to their white counterparts and say, this is what we need to get back to as America. And because we cannot go into those rooms as people of color, it is white people to talk to white people, just like it's Black people to talk to other Black people. There are certain spaces we cannot go and talk about certain subjects that need to be talked about as a country when it comes to racism. So we had a great conversation yesterday. And I am very excited about our community and the audience that's here. People come from many, many, many backgrounds here. We have folks that are on the West Coast, East Coast, Africa, London. We have people in South Africa here. We have people that come through here every day. However, and I want to make sure I say, we have also white people that come in here and they're talking and they're sharing, they're chatting. They may not come on the screen, but they're chatting and everything. So yesterday, I got text. Obviously, someone knows my text information, so they could text me the information. And I was debating, should I share this? But I think for a healthy discussion, it's important to share it. At first, I was like, maybe I shouldn't share this, but I'm going to share it. And the reason I'm going to share it is because I want to bring awareness to it. And you know what really gave me the extra incentive to share this? I was watching, I'm a Lemon head, so I was looking at Don Lemon yesterday. And he's every platform where Black people are speaking up against racism and against the bigotry and against the hate is getting some kind of pushback. That's why a lot of the journalists like Don Lemon and a bunch of other folks and Roland Martin have their own platforms, because you can't speak to truth in commercial media. That's why we have streaming. That's why people are on streaming. That's why people do podcasts. So on that note, I'm going to read something to you. And this is not to be mean. I'm not going to name the person. But it would. I know, Adrian, Lord have mercy.
Adrian's like, what?
Name him. Get on the blast. And so here it is. Where did I had it indexed here. Okay. So Elise was speaking, and it was nothing racist about what Elise was speaking about. For everyone that was in the audience yesterday. Everybody was in the audience. And I get this text. What the hell is A talking about? This is The white man's problem, Ron? Question mark. It's all our damn problem. Quote, exclamation point. So sick of you all bashing white people. Last I checked, we all are the same inside despite our skin color. Now, I don't know where the ... and then it says many Hispanics voted for Trump. Then it goes a little more deeper. This is the part that got me because I thought about LeBron immediately. Get back to photography where you started this lie. The racist rants has to stop with you. Maybe put a disclaimer on your banner for blacks only. Gwendolyn, I leave the floor to you.
Okay, So I will be honest in saying that I don't know how many times I had to clutch my imaginary pearls because I thought the sheer audacity and unlike you, I don't mind saying who people are. Now this is your platform, so I will respect that. But I'm gonna call a bitch out. I'm sorry, I went there. The sheer audacity to pull the white privilege card and tell somebody that you should get back to doing what you were doing and to not show up as a whole human person in this country. In this country, you don't have the right to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about in the way that you see fit. Is as I told you yesterday, people need to understand, times have changed. I am quick to tell somebody, I am not your Negro. Check that. All right? Like, check it. Because the whole deal, you sat at your phone, your tablet, whatever, and you wrote this message as if you have the right to tell some other full human what they can and cannot do, what they can and cannot say, and how it should be managed. That is white privilege to the T. That's all that is. And I was so angry. I was saying that this person probably has a full bag of blue bracelets because it's performative. That you come in and you say, well, I have black friends. There's no way that I could be that person. I said it yesterday. If the shoe fits, wear it and wear it proudly. All we're saying is things will not change until we become aware of what the issue is in this country. It was built on racism, on the backs of immigrants and stolen bodies. Recognize that on stolen land. Recognize that and stop pretending. Now, I'm keeping it fairly PG, Ron. I'm actually very proud of myself. I'm very proud of myself. Because I almost got on a plane to check somebody.
Oh,
you
no.
know what I mean?
Oh, no.
I was that close. I was like, she don't understand. If you come for Ron, you coming for me. And I don't play with nobody. Done.
Elise?
Well, as Gwendolyn said, so let's be clear. This is not the first time this individual has said something that implicated race in it, which is the reason they were gone for a long time and finally returned. And to have the audacity to tell someone what to do in their own place. It's just like everybody else. You don't have to follow. You don't have to come in the room. You don't have to do any of that. And the biggest part is if you take a comment that says white people need to work on this problem. Never said white men. I said white people.
Yes.
Need to work on this problem. Have a conversation about what this country has been about forever as being racist. I think we need to look at ourselves. They need to look at themselves in the mirror and say, why did that feel like that to you? Because it starts with you. How you feel is about you. And I don't respond to white people's tears. I don't care about white women's tears. And then to, first of all, come in the comments and make the comments that you made. And then at the same time, basically tell you to shut up and dribble. And, you know, basically it says stay in your place.
Yeah.
That's what it says, stay in your place. And who are they to tell you the place? And so I'm going to continue to say we need to put things where they need to be. Yes. There are things that we need to work on as a community, but the biggest piece of racism, first they have to admit that it exists. Mm-hmm. And they have to have that conversation. You know, that's why Jane Elliott does the work that she does. I guess she would definitely say Jane Elliott was racist. I don't know what she would say, but definitely those are the people. And I like Gwendolyn, I honor that you don't want names called, but and no, rest assured that since I'm that I have not received any DMs talking to me about this. Like the last time, I want y'all to remember the last time it was based on a comment she was uncomfortable with that I made. So she came and said, and she had this apologetic DM and said, I really didn't mean it that way. I said, but that's how it came out. And so if you're that sensitive, we can always unfollow. She can always unfollow me. She can do whatever she wants to do. But I think at the end of the day, our job is not to make people comfortable. I mean, they want to change our education system so that they're not uncomfortable. That's not our job. Our job is to speak the truth. And there's nothing that we say on here that's not truth and based in fact.
That's right.
It's just not.
Because also the conversation was very clear, balanced. We shared information on both sides. I shared about Abraham Lincoln, how he was confronted with Frederick Douglass. We talked about the abolitionists. We talked about there were kind and good white people, yes, on both sides. And I should say on one side, not both sides, one side. And then we know that in this election, not all white people are for Trump. And we know that. We know that. But we also know that to solve the problem of racism in America, and what pisses me off, and I get pissed off, I don't really talk about it. Adrian will tell you. I'm very diplomatic.
Yes, you are.
I'm very diplomatic.
Too much.
Say that again, Adrian.
You're too diplomatic.
But I said this needed to be addressed, and the reason why is it's driving me every time I turned on the TV after the election, which I kind of, like I said, I kind of like took some steps back. Everyone's talking about Kamala did this or Kamala didn't do this. The Democrats did this and the Democrats didn't do this and all this, and no one is talking about the problem. The red siren that's like flying, just spinning around. Racism in America. She's a woman, and she's a woman of color, and white people that came out on Trump's side came out and was called. Then you go on to Joy Reid's show, you go on to Roland, and you can say the name is he had a super engagement. So the people that understood where he was back in his last, when he was presidency, they know the record, they know who he is. And then on top of that, the crimes and the felonies and all the other stuff, you can't. And I love Eddie Glaubt, what he said on MSNBC. You've probably seen it online everywhere. This is who we are as America. This is an American problem, and only white people can fix it until they look at each other and say, we are wrong. Slavery was wrong. Encampments of Chinese, Japanese, and people were wrong. Indigenous people was wrong. Taking their land was wrong. Until white people can tell the other white people that they were wrong, there could be no growth, no prosperity in the right way as a country of people of many backgrounds, many nations. What makes America unique is that we are from many nations, many places on the planet. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us great. Not because you want to go back to 1864 or 1850 or back to 1820. Those weren't great years for people of color. Those weren't great years for Black people. Shoot, they weren't great years for, just go back to 1970 when women couldn't get a checkbook.
Right.
When was America great? And like someone said, one of the correspondents, you tell me what year was it that you thought was so great compared to where we are today? And so when someone comes into your platform and says, oh, you know, I got the text. So I was like,
She knew where to send it.
And I said,
She
wait
knew
a
what
minute.
we're not to send it to, Miss Elise.
I was like, wait a minute. And I am, because there are white people that are in this, that come in this community, they share and we all communicate, converse. And not one of them has ever complained or said, Ron, that was out of, because you know why? Because we do not bash white people. We have never bashed white people. We simply tell the truth that if you want to grow as a country, you white people have to talk to other white people to share the good news and the good message of our greatness as a country, as we are together as one. Anyway, I just wanted to like I said, at first I just struggled. I said, wait, but then I said, wait a minute, this needed to be addressed.
That was that diplomat in you struggling.
Yeah, but let me say this if I can.
Yes.
First of all,
Adrian.
I'm sorry that you had to be on the receiving end of that text message, and that you had to take that on, because anyone having to receive that and being told by someone that's in it that you've allowed into your community to be that disrespectful, to have that full like BJ's size box of audacity and pour it out onto you to feel like they can come out their face and say something like that. I am sorry that you had to experience it, but I'm also glad you did, because you got to see the real. It's not like you didn't know. Like, we didn't have hints before. Absolutely. I just wanted y'all to say her name because I can't remember her name, because I know who you're talking about from the last scenario. That helps. Just need to stay.
Don't say her name.
But dishes have to be washed.
Yeah, but it's like, the thing is, like, but this is, to me, why there's this force to try to remove the education, because
yes,
personally, they're gone. We're not getting them back.
Yes,
and
right.
You keep saying we want to tell white people to tell those white people. Those white people that are on the wrong side of history are going to stay there, and they were proud and happy to stay on that side of history. So I'm not targeting them. I'm done with them. What I'm targeting is their children. It's the next generation. Those are the ones that we need to be able to educate and say,
right,
this way of going is wrong, and try to evolve them into a better way of thinking. But if we remove the education that shows all the atrocities and all the wrong things that we've done, and they don't have that exposure, they don't have proximity to that knowledge, then they won't know why it's a problem, and they will continue to be fed by the ignorance of their parents, and they will perpetuate this over and over and over again. We need to get them, and they know that, which is why they're trying to remove that history and whitewash it and cleanse it so that it doesn't have the same dirtiness of the truth behind it. That's what we have to find a way to get that next generation too, because we have a whole crop of folks that are going to be voting again in 4 years, and we've already lost a bunch of young people. I've seen interviews from Hispanics, because let's be clear, they're the ones that disappointed us. Like, black people, there's a whole thing about black men didn't vote. The people that voted within the same margin that we did the last election cycle.
Exactly. 80% men, 92% women.
The problem is that too many of us sat on our couches.
That's right.
Yeah,
Hundreds of thousands of black people did not vote
stayed home
versus the last one. And that is why we've lost. So we have to make sure that we are honest with ourselves and honest with the narratives that we're creating around us. We're not the problem. And for sure, black women are the problem. Y'all need 4 years of rest. Y'all need 4 years of
black women should say, I'm taking a vacation.
And you deserve it. Black women have done enough.
They've been doing overtime.
But we've got to figure out what our true narrative is, figure out who we're really targeting, and then really target them in a succinct way so that they can be a part of the new regime and the new solution. Because we can't keep going like this. As far as her, she doesn't deserve any more airtime on your.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I just wanted to get that out. But and it's interesting. I'm looking at the chat. How many people did see the exchange that was going on in the chat yesterday?
They saw it now.
So I just had to address it, and I'm glad that I addressed it because again, the thing is that when I go to certain people's communities, and I'll pop on community, you see something, you say, oh, let me just check it out, and if I don't like what's going on there, I don't go back. My thing is, if you don't like something, you don't have to engage and try to. But you're operating on a level of a troll. But when you do stuff like that,
they're operating like Gwendolyn said.
Yes,
and it's performative.
It's performative.
Yes. That's all that is. It's like I'm gonna make them feel like I'm with them, but as soon as something is said that I don't like, I'm gonna comfort and tell them they shouldn't say that because I think I can control that. You have zero control. But it's about being performative. That's why I stayed away a long time, then came back and then tell you how to change what you do. So they do that stuff. But I wanted to say something about what Adrian just said about information and what they're doing with that piece. And what I mentioned, Adrian, yesterday was what's happening with the National Archives. They have an exhibit coming out next year, and the lead woman is whitewashing it. She's going to replace Martin Luther King's march with Nixon shaking Elvis's hand. She's going to take out the Japanese term. I know you lying. I am not lying.
Elise don't lie. Elise don't lie.
You can look it up.
It's just a matter of phrasing.
I know you lying. Come on, Ron.
I know. It's that one that says, I know you lying. but that's what she's actually doing. She said because it's the whole thing again about people not feeling uncomfortable about the truth. The truth about America is uncomfortable. So that's a major erasure. If she actually gets to follow through with that, that's a major erasure coming from one of the places that you go to get information. It's the National Archives, and you want them to be truthful, but you're going to take out that. You're going to replace him with Nixon and Elvis. You're going to take out information on the Japanese internment camps. You're going to take out things about indigenous people and what happened to them. Those are the things that she wants to remove from that. And the exhibit is due to come out next year.
Yeah, but see, this is the point, like Adrian was saying, is that they don't want their next generation to know the truth. Absolutely. So that's why you have to erase it. You have to now you can't have the books, you can't have any literature, you can't have, and you heard what you heard yesterday. Reparations.
Yes.
For white people.
Nobody. So can I
I mean, DEI. If your school does DEI, we're gonna now pay the people that felt hurt money for their hurtness.
I want to say two things. I'm gonna say two things. I'm gonna try to put it together.
That's why we're having community conversation. This is what we do here.
In my opinion, in my experience, when people come in, when people who don't look like me come in and ask why something doesn't include them, such as Black Girl Magic, Black Boy Joy, isn't it all people? Isn't it? It's like, that's white privilege, because it's not focused on you. It ain't about you. When you come into a space, you don't have to be top dog and the spotlight. It's not have to be on you. It's not about you. So Ron and I were talking, and he was concerned that, people are feeling emboldened to say things and do things. And I said, but here's the difference. We are not the Negroes from back when. Back when, you had to think to yourself, if I stand up for my wife, for my mother, my auntie, I am liable to get lynched. Now, things are not changing as fast, but I think about the brawl on Mississippi River, when people felt emboldened to attack a Black man doing his job and his young white counterpart. Right. And there were Black people on a boat who said, not on my watch, got up, grabbed folding chairs and said, we are not the same people that they were back then. Now, I told you there was a run on ammunition in 2020. We got people, mad people countrywide who are stocked and ready if it's necessary. I'm not saying it is, but if it was necessary. So myself, my dear friend Aisla, who is coming here from time and again, she and I do this thing called Not Dinner Conversations, where we talk about what people don't want to talk about. We talk about how American society protects pedophiles. They perpetuate rape culture. They talk about women as property. We talk about it because it needs to be discussed. We are not going to move anywhere until we start having the conversations that you probably shouldn't have at the dinner table. We are doing it because it needs to be done. And if more of us had smaller circles of conversations, then you start touching other people. It's got to spread somewhere. It's not coming from mainstream media. So forget them jokers. It's never going to happen. It's not. But we each have platforms. We know people.
Yes.
Each one teaches one to reach many. That's it.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I want to say, this is the last thing on her. And I reminded Ronna this yesterday. There was that point in time when she put in the chat, the whole panel is Black. And he said, well, you're welcome to come in if you like, but she never came in. But she put in her comment, oh, your whole panel was Black.
I said, these are the people that want to come
remember
on.
that day.
So
I was like, okay. But she has been that way all the time. She has examined where her racist tendencies are. And I think that's the important part. People, it's like when Eddie I always said Giles spoke to the woman, and he said, you want to believe that because you don't want to believe the truth. And because that means that you'll have to look in the mirror at yourself.
Yeah, he was talking to Stephanie Rule on MSNBC, and that was such a great exchange. I need to find it. It was so good, and because he was like, I refuse to believe that people voted for a felon, a criminal, someone that committed many crimes, someone that's a racist and a bigot for $5 eggs.
Hate is very comforting, Ron. Hate and the fear of what you don't understand and what you choose not to understand is extremely comforting. I mean, think about fear. A lot of folks operate on fear. I come from a place of joy. I say yes to what brings me happiness and joy and good times. I'm not operating on fear. There is no, well, what's the worst? It's like, no, what's the best thing that could happen? But we have been trained as a society to operate on fear, the fear of missing out. I'm not missing nothing. There is no fear here. We get out and we go do it. But think about how comforting fear is. Think about that.
Yes.
And we don't even check it. It's like when people say that, we don't realize how much what we do is based on fear versus the joy of. That's a mindset change. That's a lot of work. And no offense, this country, this nation, we got some work to do.
We got a lot of work. It's going to get crazy. Like I said, I'm with Roland and a bunch of other people that I see on the platform. I follow a lot of Black and mainly Black, I would say. I mean, I follow everybody obviously online because I want to get my news. I want balanced news. I want to get the news from all perspectives. It's important that I do that, especially if I'm going to be on here with you guys as a community person and sharing with you all. It's important to know all sides, even the sides I hate, to even take the time to listen to. Yes. But you need to know how others are thinking. And but I am with this movement, and like I said, the Black Threads, and that was really comforting. Black people, I'm sure lots of people of color and also white people that voted for Kamala are going to all say, I mean, everyone's going to work their best to make sure that we keep civil rights moving forward, that we're going to make sure that we keep educating our young people, we keep educating our fellow man and woman. We're going to continue to do that. That's what we're going to do. That's how we are. I mean, most people, when you think of the avatar of the person that is a Democrat, if you want to call Democrat, or someone that voted for Kamala Harris, the avatar of that person is usually a person that believes in civil rights, freedom for all, moving forward in as a society, and not going back to the stuff that we overcame. That's pretty much the profile.
Let me ask a question. I guess any of you all can answer this question.
Mm-hmm.
Does it really benefit our community by not saying who it is?
Me personally, I would have said something, but that's me, right? Because
Yeah.
like, okay, so Ron and I work
about.
together. Yeah, like we worked together. Ron will always say, "Well, the place I used to work." I'm like, I'm gonna say exactly where I worked. There is no fear here, right? My shows go on LinkedIn, and I talk about my old colleagues. Yes, you know exactly where to find me. You can come on over. We can have a conversation. It's okay. But that's me. But this is his platform.
No,
so I respect him and his diplomacy, because he's shown me better than me. Lord knows he's better than me.
I'm just asking that question because I think a part of what happens in society is that people get comfortable because they know that they won't be called out. And I think that's one of the problems that we have, even amongst ourselves, is when we don't call each other out. And we just go, oh, you know, that girl over there. And everybody's like, and then when it happens to someone else, you go, oh, well, that wasn't them. And then they go, well, why didn't you say it? So yeah. I think that we provide people comfort and give them, and I have this thing, we teach people how to treat us. And when we make sure that they're comfortable and they could care less whether you're comfortable.
Very true.
How does that support things? Because about a part of what has been happening, and I'm going to give an example based on what Adrian was talking about earlier. As long as I can cover the history and not tell the history, I can keep people ignorant, and they can be, and that the people who don't want it to be told and heard are comfortable because they know I'll never reveal it. So that's just a thought, you know, and let's say, I'm not saying anything, but I think that's something we have to think about. Things get perpetuated and people feel emboldened because they're not called out.
Yeah, and everybody, I mean,
can go back yesterday and watch it.
They could definitely go back and watch and see that it was Tish. So Tish was in the room, but
yeah.
And because it's not the first time, I'm definitely, you know, it was. And there's something here, you know, Lisa, you know, our wonderful Lisa in the building. Lisa called it out the last time, and she was like, Ron, that's not. She said, her true colors are coming out. This is her true colors. This is who she is, and yeah, I mean, and everyone, I mean, good. We're in the community, and it definitely was Tish that did that, and but it was, you know.
Trish. I'm gonna get it right.
Trish, not Tish. Trish.
Lisa's been on fire in the chat. She ain't playing no games.
Lisa
you know, Lisa said something, and why we have this community is for honesty. And I learn from you guys, and we all learn from each other. That's why you have a community. You learn from each other. And I can definitely say this is a teachable moment. You know, we always say teachable moments where you learn. And so this is something that Lisa says, and she, you know, because she pulled it here. She says, and lady, if you are here on a burner or watching this on replay, you own Ron and Elise, and you owe Ron and Elise apology. The whole chat really put those two minimally. You should be ashamed. But also, Lisa said something back here, which is Lisa's been chatting. Lisa's been in here because Lisa's been really at the forefront of this. I mean, when it happened the first time, Lisa really, like, you know, she made it very clear what was going on. And this, again, there's a place for diplomacy, and there's also a place where you have to be, you know, just direct and just, you know, you got to do what you got to do. There's a time for everything.
So I think that I appreciate the sentiment of wanting an apology, but I wouldn't want it because it's gonna be.
I don't want the apology. I'm
like I said though, I think the moments like this are good for groups like this, where
yes.
we need to be reminded sometimes, like not everybody's your friend, and sometimes we can allow snakes into our garden by accident and without even knowing, right? And so we need to. I don't remember who said it. Maybe it was Derek. It was like, say the snake so you can identify the snake. You need to know who it is and where it is so that you can get rid of it.
Yeah.
And to that point, if we have the ability to block her, yes, I would block them if you have that capacity, because this is not a place for you. It's not a place for you to. This is not your environment. You're no longer welcome here. Diplomacy for you has ended. This is a place for people who want. It doesn't have to be people that look like us. No, but it's people that at least have not even think like us, but have the ability to have conversations, to learn and to grow and to evolve and to just to be able to be in a space where we can be ourselves and not feel like we need to censor ourselves for you. Not on this platform. I wish you would. Man, get out of here.
Right. I think the first time, I think if I remember correctly, Lisa and I had a chat in the DMs about that to her, and that when she said something before, specifically about something I said, and she tried to come back and send that. I didn't want what she said either, because it wasn't really an apology. She sent something, well, that's not what I meant to say, but that's what you said. Yeah. And so I just didn't even respond. Like, I was like, okay, whatever. And she definitely doesn't come into my lives anymore, but she does come into lives that are other black people's lives. And so you get offended in there. What are you going to do? People that I know personally, I'll tell them to just block you out. So, but because you don't have this, I put it this is her third strike. Yeah. And it was all racist. This is the third time.
Oh, this text was, I'm laying it down. I'm out of here. I'm gone. So we probably won't see her anymore. But
she should.
This was the third public time.
Public time.
According to what I'm seeing, there have been a bunch of other times that have not even been exposed. So she's showing us up to be who she is. And again, like I said, we have given her too much time.
Yeah. Right. So that's what's going on. So I'm glad I was able to, like I said, I debated. I said, you know what, this is something that needs to be shared. And I'm glad that I was able to share, because we have a community, and we want to create a safe space that wherever you want to talk about, we can talk about whatever. If you want to, scan the QR code and you want to come on and share, we want to have a safe space for people to do that. And you can't do that if you have someone that is, being a snake. That's the best word to say.
I like Charlene's comment.
This one right here.
Yeah.
I believe she truly stepped into the wrong room with the wrong people. The level of intelligence and integrity of everyone on this platform is unmatched. Amen to that. Amen to that. And this is like I said, I learn a whole lot from this community. This community keeps me on my toes. I know not to come in here with nothing but stuff that I researched, because everyone in here is on their P's and Q's, and that's what I love about it. That's the whole purpose of building a community and growing it and sharing, and is the growth that we have with one another. So
may I add something, Ron, that you and I talked about, because you had mentioned the other day when you were taking those photos and how you were impressed, or what was the other word you used? I can't think of the right word, but you were just moved how this young Jewish lady had did all the research and how they had passed down all this information and what have you, and how Black families don't have that same connection to their history. And I had shared that a number of our ancestors were sold and torn apart time and time again. So when my mother did our research on her side of the family, we got as far as the slave owners, but then that's it. There is no other background. However, if we wanted to create that same type of community today, I am a child of a village, right? Villages raised us back in the day. I said, think about who we have in this community. We have Miss Elise, right? We have her to give us all of this knowledge. all of her lessons from the garden. Amen. That, we don't have to say, if I don't have a grandmother, an auntie, an uncle, a grandfather, that I am without. You have family. Family is chosen. But you have to be intentional to create that bond, which means you may have to be a little vulnerable and open yourself up. But if you were to do that, imagine again the joy you get and all the lessons and all the gems and how much more enriched your life is because of it. Right? That's what this is. That's the beauty of a community. As you mentioned, some of us don't know our aunties, our uncles, our cousins because of how we were brought into this place, but we don't have to keep that going. You can start a new tradition. You can do something different. My daddy side, them people, them Houstons, Lord bless them. Dealing with that. My husband's family, he loves coming to my parents' house. He enjoys how he sees us operating every single day. I know that everybody doesn't have it, but you can do something new for you and your family. It can be done. This is a family right here.
Absolutely.
Right here.
Absolutely.
And you have the ability, we have the ability, which is something unique. I mean, obviously we Gwen and I talk about this a lot too. And yes, this is something specifically to Black people, is that Black people have this ability to take in people. It doesn't matter what color they are, where they come from. They just, I mean, I can't, and when Wyndham and I were talking about this yesterday, I said, my godmother, she was the beacon in the neighborhood. All of us that lived in the neighborhood, our parents were working. My mom was working. Their parents were working. We all came from single parent homes. I think only one of the crew had mom and dad together. But we all it was like 20 of us. 20 of us. Can I say that again? About 20 of us. And my godmother, he adopted all of us. We had our parents. But she, with her open arms, just hugged us, loved us, made food for us, had chats with us, had conversations with us. We just knew we going to go to the Rochesters, because the Rochesters, that's where you're going to find peace. Even our friends that had not so good homes, and their parents were not so good, or their neighborhood, down the block was where all the, the rough ones were.
All right.
They knew they were going to find refuge. And I can count how many Black women, and Black women are good for this, and Black men too. Because because I did not have a dad growing up.
Sorry.
Because I didn't have a dad growing up.
I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't have a dad growing up. My pastor became my dad. He adopted me as his son, took me into his family. And his mom used to call me her grandson. We used to go all over the place. She said, son, this is this. Son, this is that. I was 15, 14 years old. 15, 14 years old. And everywhere. And then his wife took me in as her son. They took me in because I didn't have the family structure that I needed. And I watched that through my whole life, of people taking in other kids, other people that don't have what they necessarily need to succeed. And we have to get back to those old days where we created community. You couldn't beat the Black community and saying that's cousin Ron or that's cousin Bob. Y'all ain't related, but that's cousin Bob.
Right.
That's that,
Most people in your chat know that that's our story.
That's our story.
For me, right? I didn't have a dad growing up, so you adopted me as your son, and so you've been Pop, and I've been your son. Everybody knows. Oh, that's your Pop, that's your dad, yeah. And I am the man that I am today, in very large part because of you and your influence over me. You're embracing me, despite the fact that everybody else was like, "I'm a waste of your time."
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not worth it. It's not, you know, you need to leave that one alone. And so, but you didn't. And because of that, here we are, you know, and here I am. And that's what we try to do. Like you've seen Nancy and I with my sons, where our house is the house. So they all of my son's friends, they call me Pop. And even though Donovan is in Japan, his friends still come over and they'll sit here in my living room with my wife and I for hours and just sit and talk, and we'll feed them and we'll laugh. I'll take his friends we'll go to the movies. I'm like, hey, I'll buy extra tickets and I'll just send in invites. Who wants to come? And you know, I've had that in you. So I'm trying to make sure that I continue to pass on that legacy of being there for the next generation.
Yeah, and that's the same thing for me. My two younger children's friends call me Mama Stalwart.
Yes.
They'll say, you know,
we know they do that with you.
Mom, can you come down here and see my you know, attend my exhibit? I had some male students who were having issues at home. They slept in my basement until we could work it out with their parents to get it right. Because I told the parents, look, it's either you treat them right or you end up in jail. We're gonna have to figure this out. And they ended up with better relationships with their parents, and they still are in contact with me. And that's what it was really about. It was me and my village of people, because you all know my father was left with 6 children when I was 3 years old. But I had my grandmothers, my aunts, and they taught me how to be a part of a community. And I just have that part. I had that part when I became an educator and a parent. And my kids are always like, well, I don't know why my friends love you so much. But every time I come to Brooklyn, my son's friends ask, can they all meet up so we can go to lunch or dinner?
Wow. I mean, and it always reminds me, and this is why, you know, I learned early on because of the people that took me in. I mean, and my parents will tell you, my mom and my dad will tell you, I did not have a relationship with them, my biological parents. I did not have a relationship with them. It just didn't happen that way.
Right.
But I had so many surrogates, so many people that took me under their wing and educated me, talked to me, shared. I could have been that statistic.
Yeah.
I mean, I really grew up as a kid with no one. I remember one day and I'm going to close on this. My father said he was going to come and pick us up for Thanksgiving. And I was holding on to this hope that my father will one day become my father, even though, you know, he's obviously my biological father, but I kept saying one day he'll step up. And I was 16 years old, and I'll never forget this day as long as I live. And my mother never, ever said a bad word about my father. Never. Never. My mother never said a negative word about him, no matter how many times he disappointed. She never said a negative word about him. And I would look at her and say, why are you always defending? Why are you always defending him? She says, you'll find out when you get older. I'll let time tell you who your father is.
Yeah.
I will never forget. And it's not the best, my father. I love my father. We had a great time this week in August. But I remember we all got dressed up. My sister and I, my mom. My mother and her knew he wasn't showing up. But she just got she's just being mom and just kind of like, okay, he's coming. We'll wait. We'll wait. We'll wait. He never showed up. He never showed up for another couple of years. That day was the breaking point. My mother calls my godmother. She lives around the corner. The one that I tell you, the Rochesters. I always owed my life to the Rochesters. And she called them. And they called her. 857-0447. That was our old number. And she called, how's the kids? How's everything going? Well, their father didn't show up. We're here. She says, oh, come on over. Bring the kids. Come on over. Bring the kids. That's how she used to talk. Bring the kids over. So we had our clothes on, so we were all ready to go. So we walk around, go up the block and around the corner. And we are my godmother, when she put on you remember the movie Soul Food? That was my godmother's home every Sunday. But Thanksgiving, it was even more magnified. It was like every food you could imagine was on that table. There was a huge table she had. It was huge. And my little 16-year-old self was like, oh my God. And then I'm hanging out with my god brothers and my god sister, and we're hanging out. We got some of the kids from the neighborhood are there too. And we're all there hanging out. And out of nowhere, I'm at the dining table, and I burst out in tears. And I wasn't a kid that cried. They used to call me Mr. Spock because I had no emotions and no feelings. They used to call me Mr. Spock back in the day. And I cried so hard that day. My lungs were inflamed. I cried so hard that day. Never cried like that again. But I cried so hard that day. One is I was so disappointed. So disappointed. And I wasn't even angry. I can't even tell you I was angry with my father. I was disappointed. But that moment, that little check in life, where the things, the pinnacles in your life, things that are like niched in your life, this is going to change you forever. And I said, I will never treat anyone like this ever. I will never disappoint ever. I will never say something to someone and not be there for them. And it changed my life forever. It made me a father to Adrian.
Right.
I could not have been the father I was to Adrian. He always said, what's going on, Pop? What's going on, Pop? And the things we did together as he was growing up, teaching him how to tie a tie, teaching him how to do a bow tie, teaching him how to fly a kite, taking him hiking, going in the car, taking drives, driving from Boston to New York. He said, you gonna let me drive it? You gonna let me drive by myself? I was like, yeah, you got it. One eye open, I'm in the car, I'm in the corner, one eye open, like, okay, we're gonna get from Boston alive. Adrian's gonna get us there.
Got pulled over, it was all right.
Just a little fast.
But I say that it was something that was, but also it was the village.
Mm-hmm.
It was the village. It was my god brother, three of them. The two of them, which was closer to my age, one was my peer and the other one was younger, and my god sister. They held me. They consoled me. They loved on me and loved me. They got me back into play, to come back to the dining table to eat. But it took a long time.
Yes.
And I say that we have the ability in all of our lives to create community. Your family, people get hung up, oh, that's not my blood brother, that's not my blood sister, I ain't blood. And now we've all learned over the years in our communities and where we are grown and how we've grown up, community and family are created.
Absolutely.
Family is created. Community is created. And so as we head out into the world today and the rest of the week, let's remember, if you don't have family, create it.
Create it, yes.
Create it. Because God knows if you desire family and you don't have the family, your heart is able to love.
Yes.
If you are craving family, that means you have the ability to love and give love and share love. So don't ever look down on yourself and say, I don't have a family. And you feel like, I don't have a family. But if you don't have your blood family or a community you can get to grow and become a part of, create one.
Yeah.
Create one. That's what we've done here. Look at all the people. I mean, there's 27 people in here. It was up to 38 people in this room today. We've created community.
Right.
Who would have ever thought? But here we are. We're all joined together in one thought. And that is because we love one another and we want to see each other grow and become better people. Okay, guys.
Absolutely. So
this was wonderful. Thank you, son, for popping on.
Ron, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being open and vulnerable to share that, because I think that's what our stories are so important to people, because there are people who have gone through, have had experiences that may be similar. And for me, I wrote my mother a poem after she passed, and I thanked her for leaving me, because I said that I would not know the love of the community that I had around me if she had stayed. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, you know me. Before I get on these little times together, I always say, God, what do you want me to say? How do you want this event to grow? How do you want I really believe in God. Just take the steering wheel. Just take the wheel.
Yeah.
Because you never know who you're going to touch. You don't know who needs what. And I know that I'm a man of faith. I believe in that. But I know that if you just be sensitive to what's being said and you come into a space genuinely, in a genuine heart, anything wonderful can happen. Okay, guys, we're out of here. Thank you, Adrian, for coming on. Thank you, Elise, for coming on. Thank you, Miss G.R. Houston Jack.
Look, we're going to come for that food the next time I get there.
Oh, for sure. I'm down.
When you guys come to town, we will definitely go to Adrian's. I'll be. He loves company. Loves it. Okay, guys, love you all. Have an amazing day. I hope this was a blessing to you all, and that someone I know I walked away with a lot of wisdom from you guys. Thank you for the wisdom you imparted on me, and so this was wonderful. Thank you so much. Have an amazing hump day. Have an amazing Wednesday. And I'll see you tomorrow. It's our Trend Watch Thursday. See you tomorrow.
Love you, Ron.
Love you too. Love you all.
Adrian and Gwendolyn.
It's like, love ya. Love ya. Hit the like button. Oh, yes, right, D. Savage. If you like this, hit the like. And I forgot my little banner somewhere out there. But hit the like and share if this meant something to you. But make sure that you subscribe if you have not subscribed. If you're in Instagram, come on over to the YouTube channel at Ron Lewis Photos. We are here. I am not just a photographer. I am many things.
Hold on. Don't hit the heart. We love the hearts, but we need the thumbs up. There's only 23 y'all still watching. Hit the thumbs up. There's only 3 thumbs up right now.
That's right. When you're in this space, hit the thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yes, there should be 23 thumbs up inside the thumbs up. So make sure you do that. Make sure you do that. Thank you, guys. Aya says, love and hugs to everyone. I see Anthony with the hands up. I say group hug, says Kimmy. And I see y'all all. And the only blood that matters is the blood of Jesus. Community is everything. Have a great day, everyone. We back at it tomorrow, says Bryson. Okay, guys, I'm out. Love you all. See you tomorrow.